All right, on this edition of The Best Hawaii Unedited, I have a sought-after gentleman when it comes to anything that has to do with indigenous agriculture, Hawaii, father of 7, a really interesting person when it comes to advocacy, I would say, because you're quite passionate and also known for wearing a malo. Daniel, Anthony, we're going to learn more about him and all the great things that you're doing. And we also have some props on the table. So I just want to jump in.
Yes.
So first question, what makes Hawaii the best?
Oh, I mean, obviously it's family and community, and then its place. Yeah, and part of it is the 2,500-mile wall that has been a buffer for the rest of the world that keeps us nice and safe, right?
Yeah.
That ocean.
Mm-hmm.
The other part is just our ability to create abundance here.
Beautiful. And so let's start from the beginning. Where were you born?
Born and raised in Waiʻanae. I am a proud class of 96, not graduate. I dropped out in 11th grade.
Oh,
but,
so close.
So close.
You're like, this isn't for me.
I was working on my PhD in criminology.
In the
11th grade at like working to be a criminal.
Gotcha.
And so
gotcha.
I needed to not be in an environment where doing not good things was so easily accessible.
What kind of not good things?
Oh, I think I as a kid I was a klepto.
Oh.
And I wasn't into, I'm one of those guys. The reason I never tried meth is I was worried I'd like it. Yeah, and I would be, if you know me and my personality, I would have been like a Olympic meth, whatever it is that I did.
You probably wouldn't be here today.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
And that part of knowing yourself, yeah, I just saw the pathway and what my friends were doing. And, I'm really lucky. My grandfather was the director of Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive Health Center. And
wow.
That had a unique form of protection because my grandfather cared for everybody's auntie, everybody's mom, everyone's grandma. The relationships that they had with my grandpa didn't allow for their grandsons or sons to play with me if they were doing bad stuff. So they'd be like, sorry, Daniel, you can't come. And I was like, I want to. They was like,
we don't want you to get mixed up in.
So that I'm blessed because I think for most youth in Waiʻanae, there's an open door policy to getting into drugs and trouble. And for me, there was some barriers that, they say you only have to do it once. And I was fortunate enough to survive my childhood in Waiʻanae with never ever having or feeling the need to do that.
Wow, that's admirable. Where on the Waiʻanae coast?
So my grandfather got a house in Lualua Valley that I was raised in, and then he purchased the house on Poka'i Bay Drive so that he could walk to work. Yeah, it's right down the street, Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive. And then my stepmother who raised me, she's a poi, P-O-E, and her father was the last Kuleana taro farmer in Waiʻanae Valley. Wow. So I actually grew up on the last Kuleana taro farm in Waiʻanae.
So tell me more about that dynamic, because you're talking about, who raised you and your grandfather a lot. Were your parents not that involved, or?
My mother, she was born in Fiji. She came here when she was 4. Her father, Jim Anthony, was a big political leader in Fiji that ended up getting kicked out of the country because he was too powerful, came to Hawaii to pursue college. And his first wife was Pua Hopkins. She developed the first curriculum for Hawaiian language in the university system. His second wife was Lily Kala, who is a past Hawaiian studies director. Children Na'alehu and Punihe. Na'alehu Oiwi TV. Punihe is actually currently up for the Po'okula of Kamehameha Schools.
Nice.
She's a finalist.
So is Na'alehu your cousin?
Na'alehu is my mother's younger brother.
Oh, so he's your uncle.
He's my uncle.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, Punihe is younger than me, but she's my auntie.
Okay,
but he's a year older than me. So my grandfather, it's really weird. the dynamics of community work. Yeah, one of the things that my wife Alohi and I always struggle on, she's like family first, and I'm like community first. Like bring the family to the community, because I was raised on both sides of my family, my paternal and maternal. That the community comes first.
Okay.
Yeah, and so because of that, my mom got into drugs and alcohol really young. She was quite like.
Was she a single parent?
Ironically, she gave birth to me 2 weeks after she turned 18, 2 weeks after my father and her got a divorce. They got divorced on her 18th birthday.
Oh, wow.
So I carry Anthony, which is her maiden name. And at the age of 1, my paternal grandfather came to look for me.
Gotcha.
And I vaguely recall it. It's just like one of those early childhood memories. My grandpa's knocking at the door, and he hears a baby crying, and he opens the door, and there I am, with a diaper full of, and my mom's passed out, and I'm telling him, Mom, and he goes to the fridge, and he opens it up, and it's only alcohol, and he grabs me, and he tells my mother, I'm gonna take your son.
Oh.
And she literally, the last word she says is, take good care of him. And that was the last time I had ever lived with my mother. And she ended up committing suicide about 18 years ago in Boston. And so I've always actually had women issues.
Okay.
I've had aunties, my stepmom. I mean, there are major women figures in my life. Mm-hmm. The most consistent woman was a 5-foot Portuguese woman that lived next door to me, Margie Pereira. And it was actually at her funeral that I realized that I came into her life when she was 48 years old. And that the single most impactful woman in my life, I met when she was 48. And at the time, it was about 10 years ago, I realized that my time for giving hasn't even started. Yeah, and I turned 48 next month. So I'm like gearing myself up for actually having something to be able to give to the community and to my family that I didn't have a decade ago.
Oh man, this is amazing. It's very heavy, but it just shows the depth of your character and everything that you've overcome and that community that raised you. So was your dad not involved at all?
No, so what happened was, so my grandpa cared for me for that second year of my life, from 1 on. And he basically told my dad, hey, I got this house in Lu'u'u'ole, raise your son. But my dad was a commercial fisherman. And so he met Gwen Poi, because my stepmom worked at 7-Eleven, Waiʻanae, and she loved to eat fish because her dad was a taro farmer, my dad was a fisherman, right?
Yeah.
And so they fell in love, and as soon as that happened, my dad just turned into a workaholic. So I actually thought I was going to be a commercial fisherman. In fact, one of the biggest battles I had with my dad was my dad and my stepmom divorced when I was 12. And because she had no legal custody of me, I basically felt abandoned by the woman that had raised me. Mm-hmm. And my dad quit fishing. Because you can't be a full-time fisherman and raise your 13-year-old son. And it was like, where you been my whole life? Now you're trying to tell me what to do. I'm a teenager. And then,
it's too late.
I was either working on my PhD in criminology or giving gray hairs, or both of them at the same time, because I was one of those kids that
super rascal.
Well, I'll tell you this, my na'au has always been really loud in my life. Yeah, I have always done bad things knowing that I was doing them. And for the first 18 years of my life, every time my na'au said, don't do something, I was like, oh, watch me. And by 18, I had already run away. I ran away at 16. I was on the Big Island.
Where'd you go? Oh, you went to the...
I went and hid out on the Big Island because
gosh.
my mother, my birth mother, her siblings are all on the Big Island. So I went and hid with their family and, basically just didn't make good choices, found myself alone. She had a gun, put the barrel in my mouth, said, if I can't find one reason to live, then why am I living? And I couldn't find any. And then I was imagining someone telling my grandmother that her oldest grandson had committed suicide. And my grandma loved me no matter what I did. Yeah, and I couldn't see that happening. Like, that would have just broken her heart in ways that I was not prepared for. And literally at 18, I said, okay, Daniel, if you're gonna live, you have to live with a purpose. And I visualized pushing off the bottom. And I've actually been swimming up since then.
Yeah.
I don't think I've hit the surface, but I've been working my way to showing my children how to live with adversity and challenge, and hopefully doing my part as a father to end generational trauma.
Wow. So taking it back a little bit, what elementary school and what high school?
Okay. Oh man. So I got kicked out of preschool, Seventh Day Adventist in Waiʻanae. I went to Lehoku until 3rd grade. 4th grade, I went to Ho'ala.
Did you get kicked out
of Lehoku?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
What happened at Lehoku was that
I
I was a handful, and so my two aunties were going to Ho'ala, and so they said, "Oh, maybe Daniel needs more structure." So they sent me to this private school. At 4th grade, I was catching the bus from Waiʻanae to Waiʻanae by myself sometimes.
Wow. Like the city bus?
The city bus. Okay, 8 years old on the bus. I wouldn't even put my 16-year-old on the bus today, okay? Much less my 8-year-old. Oh my God.
That's awesome.
So 4th grade, I went to Ho'ala. 5th grade, I came back to Lehoku. My parents got divorced in 6th grade, and I was losing it. So I got shipped to Keaukaha. 6th grade, I went to Keaukaha Elementary. Yes. Came back 7th grade, Waiʻanae Intermediate. Now, 7th grade is a really pivotal year for me because my dad had quit fishing. And his first job was working at the Opelu project, Ka'ala Farms. So across the street from the Intermediate is Opelu Project, Waiʻanae Coast Community Alternative Development Corporation.
Okay.
Which every day I walked across the street and I'm just like,
did you want to do it? No.
I want to do anything that my father wasn't involved with. You know, he and I were so, and at that time in my life, let me tell you, you have a bad kid when I was not allowed to be by myself. Okay? I was grounded to my father. I had to go with him everywhere he went. It was there, though, that my dad in 7th grade started making poi.
But your grandfather owned a taro farm.
And I only ku'i'd one time with Papa Poi.
So no interest.
Well, let me just tell you how crazy it is. There's like this chart that I see in my head. And the chart is of Native Hawaiian health in Waiʻanae. And what happens is that when they cut the water, the health declined. And the health decline parallels with the rise of medical services in Waiʻanae. So, this is something
it literally becomes a desert.
Super, like, my aunties at Waiʻanae Coast Comprehensive don't like me saying that Waiʻanae Coast is built on sick Hawaiians. But the reality is that if we're healthy, then we don't need an incredibly looking medical facility, yeah? And so firsthand I saw what happens when you lose water. And so by the time I was born, Papa Poi's water had gone from awai to flume to pipe to bill. And so he was no longer growing taro for corn. We were leaf farmers.
Oh, okay.
And my dad ended up organizing a community ku'i when I was 14, and my papa came down and he brought the family board, which was sandalwood poi boards. And that is one of my only memories of ponding with my papa.
So what shifted to where you decided that was going to be your purpose, or you realized?
No. What happened was, basically, listen, instead of licking you, right, there's a pot of taro, go clean it, go make it into poi. And by the time I was 16, I was the poi maker in my family.
So you didn't like start hating it? Because
You know
that
what?
was your punishment?
Nobody talked to me. Very quickly, I was better than all of them. I just stayed in my own world. I didn't even really learn from like, I just did my own thing. And I used to pride myself on that I could pound any quality of taro. Whether it was super mature and overripe, or if it was perfectly and starchy, I could make it all smooth. And I would take my time. It'd take me hours. And, when you think of, when do teenagers meditate? And
When they're alone.
What happened was that here I am on this board, holding this ancient stone on a piece of wood, smelling taro, having taro in my life. And what was really important, what I didn't realize, was it's not the pounding of the taro that helped me, it was the cleaning of the taro. This metaphor of finding the purity of haloa was kind of the process for me to scrape off all my own problems.
Interesting.
And when you sit on the board, the energy that you carry goes into the food. So if you're angry, if you're sad, it conveys into this really sticky substance. Yeah, and this is what goes back to why you don't talk business or talk bad over the poi board. Yeah, because you end up consuming that.
Yeah.
And the repetition and consistency of doing that again and again and again and again and again. The moment I touch taro, I go into a bubble. Whatever my problems are, they're still there, but I take them off. I think about the people that are going to eat. I think about the people that I'm helping to heal. I think about all my kupuna, all my ancestors that are with me, that are around. I think about my children. I think about the health of the land and the soil and the water. I mean, these are the things that I am putting into the food that I'm making. And the idea is to ignite a ono in our community, to want to do hard work, but one that has so much benefit. And, really what happened is that I was good at making poi, and it changed the dynamic on how people related to me. Like those aunties that would probably give you licking, they'd like pull my ear and they'd be like, Daniel, I should lick you right now, but next month is my baby party, so you better come make the poi. Go, and
Were you like the only one that was doing it though? Like you were the best, obviously.
Pretty much my dad was running like programs, and I had a house full of boards and stones and a freezer full of taro. And so I had access. And this is why I feel it's so important to have a board and stone in every home. Yeah, is that when that ono happens and you have those tools, action, right? And sometimes our ancestors speak to us. And when you create this environment, they come.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just,
Why kalo?
Haloa is the elder brother. It is a connection that ties us actually all the way back to Africa. Yeah, when you just look at how kalo came, it came from the Nile.
Wow.
Right? And because of the huli that can be transported on a boat, on a canoe, right? The corn, the rice gets wet, the seed's not viable. The huli is. And so this was the navigator, the ocean voyagers, the explorers. This is what they took. They took the banana, the ulu, the sweet potato. These are all things that can last for a long period of time across the ocean. And so, when you think of how it joins all of these communities, 85 countries share taro.
I did not know that.
2,000 varieties worldwide. When we actually look at it, this ancestor brings together the Asians and the Filipinos and the Polynesians and those people in Central America and those people into Africa, and it connects us in how we're sustained from the land.
Beautiful. So did your dad ever tell you he was proud of you and everything that you've accomplished?
And when I was 16 years old, I was already living on my own, but I wasn't making good choices. And my dad, he reported me as a runaway. I was actually working for California Pizza Kitchen, Pro Ridge, had my own apartment at 16, okay? And my dad called the police, told them I was a runaway. The cops came to my job. My manager goes, Daniel, I'm supposed to call the cops, but I love you, and so I'm gonna take this as your last shift. Here's your paycheck, and
What were you doing?
good luck. I was a pantry chef
Okay.
and a busboy at 16. Yeah.
Wow.
And I had just quit my previous job, which I was the assistant manager at Domino's Pizza when I was the youngest shift leader, assistant manager in Domino's history in Hawaii.
That's crazy.
My dad picked me up, took me to Makua Beach. There I met a mystic, Leandro Vai. He said he needed me to meet this auntie. And we went at night. And this is in 95 where they didn't do the evictions until 96. And so we went to auntie's place.
Wow.
And we had a conversation and she goes, I'm not worried about you. You'll be back. And I took a walk with my dad after, and my dad said, son, you have two choices. You come home, you do what I say and when I say, or I give you 24 hours, I'll report you as a runaway. Good luck. I took the 24 hours. Took the 24 hours. The next day, I had my friend drop me off at the airport, boom, boom, straight to the Big Island. And, honestly, I went to the Big Island and I got a job building houses at $10 an hour in 1995 and built 4 houses from the ground up. Skinny little kid working with crazy uncles. And I was like, I don't want to be a construction worker. This is a little too not long-term enough for me, And I came back and my grandfather said, okay, grandson, I'll pay for you to go to college. So I went to Leeward. And at Leeward Community College, I took Hawaiian language with Ikela, Kaneopio Crozier. And that started a whole nother chapter. You see, my stepmom, Gwen Poi, her grandparents lived in the Waiʻanae Valley House. And her grandmother was a Manaleo from Lualole. And so that would be Tutu Lady, spoke Hawaiian, to Grandma Poi. Grandma Poi, Hawaiian terms were used all the time, but they never spoke Hawaiian to us. They never spoke Hawaiian to my mom, but they would speak Hawaiian together. I mean, this is how crazy it is. In that household, the last Kuleana taro farming family, Tutu Lady had poi every night. Grandma Poi would make rice for us because she said she didn't want us to be ono for something we wouldn't be able to afford in the future.
Oh, wow. That's very telling.
Trauma, yeah, and not enough. And when I started making poi and bringing poi home,
gold.
In that family, I really became like, a favorite grandchild. In Hawaiian language, Ikela said something to the effect that although it's an official language, there's no place in the state you can use it.
This is
96.
I was gonna say 90s, yeah.
So actually in 1996, I started what ended up being a 30-year hobby. Purposely getting speeding tickets to go to court to fight them in Hawaiian.
Oh my gosh. Purposefully.
You can go to ecourt.kokua
and search
and you will see the state of Hawaii's discrimination against me solely for the use of Hawaiian language in the court system. In the last 30 years, I've had some incredible epiphanies. One, so during those 2 years that I went to college, for great reasons, I never passed English 100. I just
that makes sense.
wasn't showing up.
It's not important to you.
Well, but here's the kicker. I can prove in court I'm a dummy. See, all these guys that got PhDs that speak Hawaiian, they all pass English 100. So the court can say, you have to speak English. I can prove that my brain actually works in English and Hawaiian, and that I have never passed what is legitimately the basic bar for English
on
competency.
purpose?
No, it wasn't. That just happened. As I look back, I go, oh my God, that's an incredible precedent that now I can use in court, because justice has to be available to everybody. They can't just say, oh, just because you're smart.
So you're arguing that you don't understand?
Nope.
Because you haven't.
What I argued every single time is that the court system already uses Hawaiian. That there's no way, you said aloha this morning. Yeah, there's no way for you to say that Hawaiian isn't usable in court, right? What I found is, you know why there's no Hawaiian language interpreters in the court system?
Not enough?
No, this will blow you away.
Okay.
This really humbled me when I really came to this conclusion. Why would you provide an interpreter for your official language?
No one's using it.
The court has been operating under the guise of Hawaiian proficiency since 1978. And no one has held it down hard enough to prove. So right now, I qualify for this thing called a constitutional disability. It's where I followed the Constitution and was not able to get services promised to me under the state of Hawaii. And what I feel like, you know, I've been to court 100 times. I have seen so many Hawaiians treated poorly. And the reason is that the judge isn't a part of our community. Yeah. Like, if you can't even say auntie's last name, you should not be a judge here. And what I believe my disability privies me to is not an interpreter, is a Hawaiian proficient court system.
Right, which we don't have.
Which, I'll be honest, a Hawaiian proficient court system is going to treat Hawaiians differently.
Right.
Which is what is the solution for our community, is to actually go to court and be treated with justice. There's so many times I've stood there looking at the judge like, how do you sleep at night? I can't believe that you just like, and then, you know, the Japanese guy goes up, oh yeah, dismissed. The Hawaiian guy goes up, oh, military, oh, dismissed. And it's like.
And the Hawaiian guy is discriminated against. Yeah. What impassioned you to be kind of like a disruptor when it comes to things that have to do with like Native Hawaiian rights or, you know, community?
Like I said, my na'au is really, really, really loud in my life. And since I was 18, I've been feeding it and building a relationship where when it says jump, I don't question anymore. You know, I know when it's my na'au and when it's my brain pushing me to do something. And although I got very heavy into the Hawaiian sovereignty movement, really educated to understand why I was so angry. Yeah, in 1996, in college, or 1997, I was failing Hawaiian language. I was failing all my classes in Leeward, but...
And who was paying for them?
My grandpa. That's why he only paid for 2 years. He's like, brother. Ikela, she said, Daniel, read this book, give a report, I will pass you. And it was the Queen's story. And I read this book, and it was like,
do you feel kind of like you identify with her? Because she was also, you know, kind of like adopted.
You know what's really weird? And I've had this like inner reckoning, so to speak. Like, I'm not Hawaiian. I'm Fijian. I'm East Indian, Japanese, Austrian, Hungarian, Jewish. Yeah, I'm like, neither of my parents were born here. Yeah, I come from, so on my dad's side, my grandfather is the firstborn in the United States after the family fled Hungary because Hitler was coming through killing the Jews. My grandmother, who he met in the war in Japan, who's full Japanese, survived the firebombing of Tokyo City at 13 years old. A lot of world views and opinions and activities that happen after you see that type of destruction. My grandpa never talked about the war, but he was a medical doctor and he treated people from Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Yeah, my grandfather gave his life to healing people because that was so traumatic for him. He also happened to be the 1959 valedictorian of Thomas Jefferson Medical School. So he could pick anywhere in the world to go to. He chose to come to Hawaii to help. My other grandfather left my grandmother in Fiji. My Fijian grandmother is from the Lau Islands. And the Lauans they're basically like the mercenaries of that corner of the Pacific. Like, I come from cannibals, straight up, guarantee I don't like you. I tell this joke, some people don't laugh. I say, I know how we related. My uncle ate your uncle. He said the cocoa was mean. But so, you know, I have a very strong personality, and then I was raised in a Hawaiian household. My grandmother didn't treat me any different from any of her other grandkids. We all got lickets. You know, it wasn't until I was in college that being Hawaiian or not Hawaiian was even an issue. Like,
because you feel like you're constant, like you were born
I'm just
and raised
in this,
and it's a part of you. Because I feel the same way.
From 18 to 28, in that 10-year period, first of all, I started working for my aunt and uncle, who own a natural stone supply company, Bella Pietra. And my job was to find sacred mountains around the world and cut them up for flooring and countertops for luxury homes. And I was the token brown boy that could speak excellent to an array of multi-millionaire billionaires and help them make difficult selections on how to make their house beautiful. And at 28, I was making about $200,000 a year. But developing sacred lands.
Didn't feel right to you.
It never felt right, but I was working with my family, and that helped.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I had my daughter, Ko'iahi. And, you know, people laugh at me and they go, oh, Daniel, you're just out there. For the first 6 months of her life, I worked. And one day I came home. We were renting a house on 11 Heights. And I was walking down from the car with my baby in my hand, and I was looking at her. This beautiful little child. She looked right at me, and she looked right into my soul. And her soul said to my soul without a single word, Dad, I will never do what you say. I will only do what you do.
Oh.
And I went in the house, and I told my ex-wife, I said, I gotta quit my job. She goes, what are you gonna do? I said, I don't know. And
But I can't keep doing what I'm doing.
I kind of had to like rebuild my whole existence in life. 2008, I used to represent Solomon Enos, the native wine artist. And in 2008, the market crashed and our art business kind of flopped. And it was a difficult year, so we decided to separate. And in 2009, I went to Papaku Makavalu. There was a practitioner course held by Antipua Kanakaole. And I went with my ex-wife, not really knowing why I'm going. And Antipua is talking about how to identify what a practitioner is. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm a practitioner. And at the end of the course, she said, one of the things about practitioners is they challenge themselves in their practice. So she went around, I'm talking Kelly Rachel, Robert Casimiro, this is the hammers of hammers in the Hawaii Pantheon. And people go, Daniel, what's your challenge? And I said, I'm gonna ku'i 10,000 pounds of taro this year. And some people went, and some people went, ha ha. And 2009, I cooked 50 pounds a day and pounded it. And by September, I had pounded 10,000 pounds.
Wow.
And that kind of changed my whole trajectory of where I was going. Then I tried to start a business, and the Department of Health went after me, and then went black market for a year, and then the Department of Health went after me again, and then in 2011, we went to the ledge and legalized it.
So when did you realize that you were a practitioner?
2009.
But like, how did you like say to yourself, like, I am qualified?
You know, if Auntie Poa's checklist, like I had hit only one or two of them, I hit like
Almost all.
pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want to say it was like a wake up, but I had all these skills. Yeah. Like I'm a
Had
son
you
of a
been-
fisherman. I'm a taro farmer's grandson. Yeah, I've been on the ʻāina my whole life. I've spent time in the ocean. I wanted to pass those on to my children. You know, my ex-wife is a navigator. She sailed around the Pacific with Papa Mao.
Wow.
Built the Makali'i with him, and then sailed around the South Pacific.
Dang.
She's an accomplished songwriter and chanter, has dusty hokus on the shelf at home. Yeah, the things that I could not provide for my children, she provided. And so together, we're like this power couple of being able to showcase like the dynamics of a healthy ohana that is providing for their kids. And you know, it just, once again, just listen to the na'au. You know, I'm not an expert, but I work really hard. And my pay attention muscle is one of the muscles that I actively have been using my whole life. And what I constantly push myself to see are the solutions. You can have 10,000 problems and only one solution out there. And because I've trained myself to look for solutions, that's what I see first. And so in that way of navigating, especially within your practice, because that's what your practice is about. It's finding the keys to the problems so that you can move forward.
Yeah. So some of our listeners and viewers might not know all the things that you did when it came to pa'iai and legislation. And so you kind of skimmed over it really briefly. But obviously in your commitment to producing all that in 2008,
So
was
this
it?
is what happened. In 2006, University of Hawaii did the patents on taro.
Oh.
And this group called Oni Pa'ana Hui Kalo with Uncle Jerry Konanui and Uncle Walter Rady held a 2-week symposium at Iolani Palace. Camp out at Iolani Palace for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And while there...
Did you support that patent?
No,
Okay.
no.
Did you support Walter Riddy?
Well, I was just getting to know Uncle Walter, and I was just getting to know Uncle Jerry on that level.
Okay.
And, you know, more than Uncle Jerry and Uncle Walter was the other 100 kupunas that showed up. And every kupuna said, we need more taro farmers. And so I spent from 2006 to 2008 reverse engineering what that meant. What they were saying was they wanted low-wage workers. Because taro farming is hard.
Right.
And the cost of taro was low. Right? But this is what nobody knows. What I did was in 2008, after reverse engineering what it would take for me to be a taro farmer, I started paying taro farmers what I would need to get paid, and single-handedly raised the price of taro in Hawaii.
Wow.
A little guy pounding taro made the price of taro go up, which is why in 2011 people were against us, because they already saw the rumbling, like, oh my God, if people become aware to taro quality and value and they look for taro, not poi, then the price of taro is going to go up, which is going to affect all the poi millers. Right? And I treat taro kind of like how we would say with rice. If you only could get rice at Zippy's, how much rice could you afford?
Not that much.
Not that much. So if we depend on somebody else to make our poi, we're at the mercy of their quality, of their selection, of their growing practices, and by us taking control of it, that pilina, that relationship that we build, ends up being what saves us It ends up bringing down our costs, increases our skill,
Interesting.
cultural connection, feed the kupunas.
Yeah. And the Department of Health was coming after you because of the stone?
So in
and
1911, there was a cholera outbreak in Honolulu, and it was traced to the poi. So they actually shut down all poi production on Oahu. And they traced it to actually Japanese farmers in Manoa using water from the duck pond to mix the poi. But what happened was they responded with new regulations that basically said you needed cement floor, walls, pipe water, and a machine. And then in 1959, statehood put all of the islands under one Department of Health, which basically banned it in 1959. And then in 1977, Waiʻanae Poi Factory started with hand pounding, but the Department of Health came in and they got a machine. And you know, when I was told that I was putting people's lives at risk, first thing I did was I called my grandpa, who was the doctor. Well, I've been feeding him and the community, right? And I'm like, Grandpa, who have I killed? And he laughed. And then his daughter, his stepdaughter, my auntie, Senator Mali Shimabukuro.
Oh.
So my auntie grew up eating hand-pounded pa'iai. She never died. She was feeding her kids that. So it was easy not to convince her, but to show the need for legislation. And she was the one that introduced the legalized pa'iai legislation.
And she retired a couple of years ago.
She quite smartly got out before it got crazy.
Wow. Yeah, so tell us what you brought here.
Okay. Well, I brought my favorite pohaku ku'iai. This is Lincoln. My best friend Lincoln Na'ole, when I was 16 years old, was working on this stone and he broke it. And he was going to throw it away. And my dad taught me at 16 how to repair it with epoxy. And this stone has pounded more than 100,000 pounds of taro.
Wow.
Yes. I brought some pueos. I've been carving more than just functional implements, especially during this coconut rhinoceros beetle battle. I've had some really depressing times, and the carving actually helps me to deal with my depression. It lets me feel sorry for myself, but actually do something.
Yeah.
This pueo here, Makavalu, is a physical sculpture of how we're going to beat the coconut rhinoceros beetle.
Okay.
And it's bringing together different perspectives. Yeah, right now the state's perspective is only for landscape palms, which is why they are using poisons.
Okay.
And what we want to incorporate are other perspectives that help to navigate us in a holistic way. The pueos are guardians. And the other part, I find that these are like breadcrumbs. Yeah, and in the future, when none of us are around, someone's gonna find your pohaku and be like, oh my God, this is my grandma's, this is my auntie's. What does it mean? And hopefully is going to bring them to a place to be inspired to either come home or to stand up. Yeah. And in the meantime, let me tell you, I've been using these to crack open coconuts. I husk it,
Wow.
pop it open. Yeah, you know, 200 years ago, as a Hawaiian, you would not be able to live without stones. They were in your life in its entirety. And we've become so disconnected from the pohakus. And so this is also like a key to sort of entering that in a way that helps you feel good about re-engaging this ancestral practice of really listening to pohaku.
So I remember when the Department of Health first announced that the coconut rhinoceros beetle came to Hawaii, because I was still on the news at that time. And my friend's husband worked for the Department of Ag. And I remember him saying, like, this is one of the worst invasive species ever to come into Hawaii. Why is it that we should be concerned about coconut rhinoceros beetle?
I've had to be like an indigenous Sherlock Holmes and crawl down. So I got really activated 2 years ago. I I blame two of my friends, Mango Freeman and Chance Correa from Malama ʻāina Landscape. They're like, Daniel, nobody's speaking up about this. You got to do this. So I started going to these community meetings, and then I started paying attention to it circle the island, and it was like it wasn't in my neighborhood. So you know how basically with CRB it's like this. Oh, it's not affecting my trees. And then Daniel, help! It's affecting my trees. Oh my God, I need you here right now. I started to get involved. My background is natural farming, so I'm a Korean natural farming practitioner. I've been using this ancient indigenous farming practices and actually using that practice to help to explain and further traditional Native Hawaiian agricultural practices. And in that process, we basically developed a strategy to save coconut trees for eating. And in that, I've had to, I took a $25,000 grant from the Department of Ag, which I'm probably in it for about $200,000 now. So I put in $175,000 of my own effort into this.
Wow.
But I'm currently helping to manage about 500 coconut trees on the east side.
Okay.
And our plan has been to take care of the mamas so they can make babies so we can replant. Yeah.
Yeah, because we had a baby and like, do they just like eat it from the inside or something? Yeah, because it just starts dying, and then
so there's
like this.
There's like a couple of viruses that affect coconut trees. So in 2008, I introduced legislation to legalize coconut groves for subsistence use. In 2008, what I was telling the state is that basically we're in the perfect storm for a catastrophe because of how we're managing coconuts. And we need to change that management practices to allow for people to, one, collect nuts and to plant. And it almost passed twice.
Wow.
And
it's like 2008.
2008. This is
You're like,
before.
I told you so.
I actually had a Hawaiian Era magazine article called The Tree of Life where they talked about this legislation. And
I'm sure you have a lot of I told you so's in your back pocket.
At this point, at the legislation, I remind them that, you guys, I'm the last guy you want to be right, but I've been right every time I've come here. So, please take what I have to say with more than just heart. Yeah. Understand that I see something that you don't see because you've chosen to be very narrow in your perspective. This is what makes the CRB so dangerous. First of all, it weaponizes mulch. Mulch is the single most important tool for farmers. Coconut rhinoceros beetle spends 80% of its life in mulch.
Like eating it?
It's breeding and feeding.
Okay.
So 2 mature beetles over their lifetime can propagate 5,000 babies.
Ugh.
So it goes from 2 to 5,000 to 250,000 in 2 years.
Wow. That's crazy.
Leads me to this here. This is one of our products, Metarhizium anastopliae. Now, dealing with the government and semantics and paperwork and red tape, I cannot make any pesticidal claims. Otherwise, I'll get in trouble. What I can tell people is Google Metarhizium anastopliae coconut rhinoceros beetle and see over 60 case studies that shows that this is the most effective tool to use in mulch.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. The irony is this, as long as I don't make any pesticide claims, I can sell it.
What's in it?
It's a fungus.
Okay.
That's a naturally occurring fungus that consumes the beetle and the larva in the mulch.
Wow.
That, guess what? For the last 13 years, they've known that it's effective. On the state's literature, it says effective, but not registered for use in Hawaii. When they say not registered for use in Hawaii, it specifically does not say on the label CRB or coconut trees. So that's why I can't make any claims that it works on that, but I can tell you that other people clearly have shown that it works on it, and we're making it available in the community. The other thing that we use is this is a deterrent. So in your living trees, the beetle finds your tree through smell. This sulfur alters the smell of the tree, and the beetle goes somewhere else and eats it.
Okay.
So,
and you just drizzle it on?
Put it in a pump sprayer, spray it onto the tree. We actually recommend that you use this with the 6 other solutions that we have, and that feeds the tree. Because like the number one thing for tree protection is a healthy tree.
Yeah.
So let's make coconuts healthy. Let's feed them well. Let's
So
give
how
them
do
the
people
deterrent.
get those items?
You can go to alohaorganic.org.
And that's your company?
During COVID, what happened was we gave away 50,000 huli, right? March 2020, shut down. April 2020, Earth Day, we gave our first 15,000 huli. We sent huli to every single island. June, I started getting hate mail. Daniel, you gave me junk huli. The thing not growing like how look in your pictures. And I go, well, what are you feeding your ʻāina? They go, feed my ʻāina. So then we scrambled. We came up with this Aloha Organic brand based on what I had already been using on my farm to heal my farm.
Wow.
So it's a nonprofit company that's totally, literally what has happened is we sell solutions. I go do free work in the community. I give away, sell some, give some away. It's like, it's meant to be a tool to service our community. What most inspires me about this is every single product that we have, with the exception of the Anastoplia, actually has a link on how you can make it. And the idea is, first see if it works. Have a bottle with the label that gives instructions.
Yeah.
And then if it works, go make it at home
Just
yourself.
on coconuts? Or can you put it on, right,
This
any
is
kind of
natural farming. This is how I had 70 years of chemical agriculture in Ahuimanu Road, and I now have an organic farm that anything and everything can grow.
Wow. When did you transition to become like Mana'ai? And
So Mana'ai was started in 2009, and honestly, it has not succeeded as a company.
oh, is it nonprofit?
COVID killed us.
Oh,
I stopped selling pa'iai during COVID because I didn't want to be that guy that something happened,
and they get sick,
right?
and then they blame you.
blame
and sue
me,
you.
so we just shut it down.
Okay.
In 2011, after we legalized pa'iai, we started the nonprofit Hui Aloha ʻāina Momona.
Okay.
So people can go to ʻainamomona.org
When
to
you
learn
say
about.
we, who's we?
Oh, it was my ex-wife. It was my current wife. It was a small group of us that had really led the charge. And this Japanese man, Mark Goto, lives on Hawaiian homestead, beautiful family, Hawaiian wife, called me up and said, Daniel, you have a nonprofit. I said, Mark, I'm barely surviving. He goes, how much cost for one nonprofit? I said, $1,500. He wrote me a check.
Oh, you did your research already.
He wrote me a check for $1,500 right there. Here's your nonprofit.
Whoa.
And then
who did all the
Kehao
paperwork?
Watson.
Oh, doctor.
Dr. Kehao Watson. I made her a beautiful poi board in trade, and she wrote our thing in a weekend.
Nice.
And we had it in 3 months.
Awesome.
Boom. You know, the nonprofit has allowed
options.
for us to garnish support from the community that helps to offset their taxes, but also gives us a way to really showcase our work in a manner that doesn't require us to have a dollar return. Yeah, our return is strength of community. That's what we value.
That's how you've always been.
So yes, we've been living under this nonprofit banner since 2011, and you know it helps when you need to write a grant. Oftentimes the problem with grants is I'm quite controversial, and so a lot of times the people that are giving the money kind of don't want you to be controversial. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we just don't get the grants, mostly because of me. But what has happened over the years is people in our community see the work. And they reach out and they go, hey, Daniel, how can we support? And I have been I treat money like fish. If you only ask for what you need, then it's always there. Yeah, so in 2021, when we got an eviction notice on our farm, I was able in 1 year to crowdsource $800,000 plus a loan to buy our farm. And it's in progress on becoming a farm school. The challenge with all things is if you don't have money, you need time. So I'm rich in time.
I know, I was going to say, because are you profitable? at this point? Or is it's kind of just been the same?
You know, Elena, I could be rich, but that's not what motivates me. And what I have really, it's taken many years to know that Akua will always provide, even when it gets super scary. And that if I can show how to do something with nothing, that's duplicatable.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to showcase in our community. Like, consistency is my magic power. I'll wake up every day. I just go that much. When you look back, 20 years of that much every day is why we are where we're at. And it's not just that we've moved forward, it's that we've gained all the knowledge on how to move forward. Yeah, when Trump came into office and everyone's freaking out, they're going to lose their grants, I was like, well, guys, now you know how to swim.
Yep. Tell us about the shirts. Because usually I'm all dressed up, but I wanted to wear a t-shirt to support you.
So this is our collaboration shirt with Defend Hawaii. On the back of it, it showcases the coconut tree and all the names of the different parts of the coconut tree. Yeah.
Cool.
So you can go to defendhawaii.com and get one. It actually leads us up to this last part that I definitely want to leave you with. So sure. April 18th, we're going to do, it happens to be my 48th birthday. And we're going to start it with a crazy Earth Day celebration. We're going to go to Kahana. Our goal is between 3,000 and 10,000 ulu tree air layers.
Oh.
And what makes this a unique opportunity? Kahana Bay.
Okay.
So in 2022, instead of doing ku'i at the Capitol, I prayed. I said, God, what do we do? God said, forget the politicians, plant. So we went to Kahana. We planted 3 acres of ulu in one day.
Like in the valley?
Trout Farm Road. So my grandfather is one of the 31 leases in the valley.
Gotcha.
So across the street from his house, we just went, cleared it, planted it. This is my 100% illegal grove, but it is what it isn't. I'm a descendant of a leaseholder in Kahana. It is a cultural living park that has never been determined what a cultural living park is. We feel that that is multi-generational growth for community and families.
It's hands off.
Yes. Well, so we did this grove in one day. The trees are now 15 feet tall.
Wow.
So what we want to train is we want to train at least 100 new people in how to do propagation techniques. And then what happens on June 20th when we go to harvest the air layers is we're going to tag the trees. 50% of what survives, you take home.
Oh.
So if you're a farmer, if you're a community organization, you want to give out ulu trees, I don't even care. You want to sell ulu trees, come and make 100.
Yeah.
Take half of what makes it, sell it on Facebook Marketplace. The idea is to put
share it
between 3,000 and 10,000 trees out in the community.
And use that to keep them alive.
Use this to keep it alive. We are going to give coconut trees and ulu trees at La Ho'i in Thomas Square, which we didn't talk about it, but you know, we make an imu.
I know, we need like 5 hours for this podcast.
We make an imu every year in Thomas Square, and we feed people from the ʻāina.
Oh.
For La Ho'i Ho'i'ea, which is the last day of July. On July 34th, 1843, Kawikeaoli took down the British flag, raised the Hawaiian flag, uttered ua mau ke'ea o ka ʻāina i ka pono, which unfortunately is misinterpreted by the state. It's the sovereignty of the land. It's perpetuated in justice.
Oh.
And if you look at the timing, that's exactly what had just happened.
Right.
So, you know, over my tenure, we went from a fully radical, no permit organization to we actually, 3 years ago, it became an official state holiday. Now, at least 10,000 people show up in the park and party with us and practice for this independence celebration that has happened. It's the oldest holiday in Hawaii. And this year, we're going to give away ulu trees and coconuts for free at La Ho'i.
Nice.
And our goal is just, you know, what I realized is that every ulu tree we plant and care for will feed a family in a time of need. And so for Oahu, we need about 1 million. If we had 1 million ulu trees and 1 million coconut trees, we're pretty insulated from anything that should happen in the world. And if there's one small contribution that I can do, is going to be 10,000 ulu trees and the knowledge on how to propagate them yourself. And that 10,000 could be 100,000, could be 1,000,000. It just depends on what people want to do.
Yeah. I have some ulu. We haven't really figured out how to cook it. I made chips once.
Girl.
I know. It's easy, right? But
I'm going to blow your mind away. You need to come hang out. Bring your husband. So every Thursday, we have community ku'i in Kahaluu.
Oh.
So you can go to Eventbrite and sign up, or you can
Okay.
just text me.
Where is it?
It's at our farm on Ahuimanu Road.
Okay.
And basically, you pay for the starch. You take home what you make.
Okay.
We provide the
We're gonna
boards,
do
the
it.
stones, everything. Now for ulu, let me tell you, hot items. Number 1, waffles. You make ulu pa'iai, you make a 1-ingredient ulu waffle that can
Yum.
either go hippie, I'm talking granola, yogurt, fruits. It can go savory, I'm talking hamburger patty, egg,
Yep.
gravy all over. Or you can go straight diabetic, scoop of ice cream, caramel, like amazing. Ulu is the emergency food in the South Pacific. What they do is they gather it, they dig a hole, they line it with leaves, they bury it, and then in times of famine, they come back to it. Now, I asked one of my Micronesian cousins, I said, how does it taste? They go, better than starving. So I've been experimenting for the last 10 years, and I've developed a way to make ulu pa'iai and store it for up to 5 years.
Dang.
And so the goal, my next goal, because I'm ulu rich, is to pack a 20-foot container with 5-gallon buckets.
Wow.
And each bucket is 30 days of food for one person.
Yeah.
And so the idea is, in your home, for you and your husband, one bucket, this amount of space, could be your food storage for a month for both of you.
Yep.
And I'm not talking like MREs, like I'm talking like you feel really good eating this.
Right.
Of course, the chips, the mashed potatoes, ulu, mac salad. I've actually been working with, I do a luau mayonnaise.
Oh.
So you do the luau mayonnaise with the ulu mac salad. Yum.
Yeah.
Ulu hash.
Yep.
Easy. I like to take the breadfruit, cut the top like a pumpkin, pop it off, stick the knife in there and spin it till I eat out the inside.
Okay.
Stuff it full of greasy meats. Close it back up, wrap it in tin foil, either
Throw it in
right on
the
the
oven?
barbecue or in the oven, and then you slice it and it's like a donut with the meat in the middle.
Dang. Okay, where can people get more information?
You go to ainamomona.org. You can go to mana'ai.com or at mana'ai on Instagram, Daniel Anthony on Facebook, or you just ask Siri to find Daniel Anthony's phone number and call me.
Awesome. I really do truly feel like we could go on for several hours.
Yes.
I feel like I have so many more questions. But honestly, he's going to go speak at the state legislature today. So I want to make sure you get there early.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Mwah.